Have you ever felt like you're falling behind, struggling to stay productive, and losing motivation to do things you once cared about? At first, it's easy to assume the problem is laziness. Maybe you've told yourself, I need more discipline. I need to work harder. I just need to stop procrastinating. But psychology suggests that what looks like laziness isn't always laziness. Sometimes it's burnout, and the difference matters, because lazy people avoid effort. Burned out people often want to try, but feel like they have nothing left to give. Today, we're exploring 6 signs that you might be dealing with burnout rather than laziness. 1. Even simple tasks feel surprisingly difficult. Everyone has days when they don't feel productive, but burnout goes deeper than that. Things that once felt easy suddenly require enormous effort. Replying to a message, cleaning your room, starting a project, making a simple decision. You know the task isn't difficult, yet your mind treats it like a mountain. This happens because burnout drains mental energy, and when that energy runs low, even small responsibilities can begin to feel overwhelming. 2. Rest doesn't seem to recharge you. Most people expect fatigue to disappear after a good night's sleep or a relaxing weekend. Burnout often doesn't work that way. You rest, you take time off, you try to recover, yet the exhaustion remains. Because the problem isn't always physical tiredness. It's emotional and mental depletion. Your brain has been carrying stress for so long that a short break isn't enough to fully restore it. As a result, you wake up tired even after doing very little. 3. Things you used to enjoy no longer excite you. One of the clearest signs of burnout is emotional detachment. Activities that once felt meaningful start feeling empty. Hobbies lose their appeal. Goals stop feeling exciting. Even achievements may bring less satisfaction than they used to. This doesn't necessarily mean you've become lazy or ungrateful. It often means your mind has been operating under pressure for too long, and eventually, enthusiasm begins to fade. 4. You feel busy but accomplish very little. Burnout creates an unusual contradiction. Your mind feels occupied all day. You're thinking, worrying, planning, trying to keep up. Yet when the day ends, it feels like very little actually got done. This happens because mental overload consumes attention. Instead of directing energy toward meaningful action, your brain becomes focused on managing stress and fatigue. 5. Small problems start feeling bigger than they are. When someone is emotionally depleted, their ability to handle stress changes. Minor inconveniences feel unusually frustrating. Simple setbacks feel heavier. Unexpected problems feel harder to manage. It's not because the challenges themselves have become larger. This happens because your mental resources are exhausted. Burnout lowers your ability to absorb stress, which makes ordinary difficulties feel far more intense than they normally would. 6. You constantly feel guilty for not doing more. This is where burnout is often mistaken for laziness. Lazy people generally don't spend much time worrying about productivity. Burned out people often do the opposite. They criticize themselves constantly. They feel guilty while resting. They feel guilty while taking breaks. They feel guilty when they're not working, even when they're already exhausted. The problem isn't a lack of effort. It's that their expectations continue demanding more than their energy can provide. And eventually, that cycle becomes emotionally draining on its own. Burnout and laziness are not the same thing. Laziness is avoiding effort when effort is possible. Burnout happens when the mind and body have been carrying too much for too long. That's why understanding the difference is important. Because treating burnout like laziness often creates more guilt, more pressure, and even more exhaustion. Sometimes the solution isn't forcing yourself to push harder. Sometimes it's recognizing that you've been running on empty for longer than you realized. And recovery begins the moment you stop calling yourself lazy for being tired.